Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, I'm at 317 pounds, so I'm pretty happy. This comes despite the fact that because of the snow, and I didn't want to risk the crazy drivers in the snow, I didn't go into the store until about Wednesday? It was Wednesday. I had to eat what was already at the house, so we're talking like mac and cheese. I actually expected I was going to have a bad number this week, a bad weight, but I didn't. Somehow, some way, I've stayed about 317 for the last few days, and I'm happy. Just I've been happy in general, though. I mean, I'm not where I want to be yet, and I've noticed that I've slowed down, from when I first started. But I look in that mirror and I feel attractive. I can still see the chub in my cheeks a little bit. My shape isn't exactly the way I want it to be yet, but my confidence is through the roof. There was a guy on Facebook who posted, and it was basically one of those ones that's like, take me as I am. But his actual comment above the post, that was him, was saying the exact opposite, saying that he was not happy with himself. And I reached out to him, told him that he can fix that. I offered for him to, get in contact with me at any time if he wanted to have pointers as to how to, improve his confidence levels. What steps he could take to get on a journey to become a better person, to be a happier person. And he seemed happy at first, but he never did reach out to me. But I can't blame him. I think I probably wouldn't reach out to me too if I was him at first. People need to do it on their own time. They need to be ready for it. I just wish he would have. I see people like that and I can't help but, understand it. I was talking to one of those girls. I actually really like this girl. And she was talking about something called Enneagram. And it's one of those various character personality tests. And I took the test. I was curious. I hadn't heard of that one yet. And it was hard for me because, when I took the test, they put me as an 8, which is very in line with where I'm going, but it's not quite. Like I felt odds with it a little bit because it talks about their different fears and whatnot, and their fears don't align with me. But I think those fears are supposed to be about what they went through when they were younger. I think that's what they were getting across. I watched several videos on it, and it's hard when I could see myself at different various traits, different numbers throughout my life. I could easily see myself as a helper character, which I think was a 2. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think for a long time I've been a 2. And if you look at their little graph or whatever they have on there, the little design, there's a line from 2 to 8. And I think I'm somewhere on that line. They even talk about the wings, which is where you can be one number adjacent. You're like an 8 wing 9 or an 8 wing 7. And if that's the case, I lean to the belief that I'm somewhere around a 8 wing 9, called the bear, I guess. Which that's cool, right? But it talks about the whole productive nature and everything. But I went and after doing the Enneagram, I went and took my Myers Briggs test again. And that was interesting too because the test tells me now that I am the protagonist, and I was not the protagonist like a year or so ago when I took that test. So it just shows how much I am changing. But it is hard because it's hard to say who you are when you're so used to being one and then you're doing a drastic change to another. I mean, I really do. When I was doing those questions and answers on both the Enneagram and on the Myers-Briggs, I was being 100% honest. Funny thing is, when I took that Myers-Briggs, I took that test, saw that I was a protagonist, and I retook the test, trying to answer the way I used to think. The way I would have answered like a year ago. And it still shows a different character altogether. It shows, I think I was like a INFJ, I think is what it was before. I think that's what that was called. Those numbers get me all mixed up. But I don't know, I kind of like the idea of being a protagonist or a bear. I like where I'm going. Feels a lot better. It feels a lot more freeing, really. Although I will admit that the 8 does kind of sound like an asshole in some respects. I'm not an asshole. I'm actually a pretty nice guy. But it's kind of introspective on the character I'm becoming through all this. I sometimes wonder if people who hadn't seen me in a while would even recognize me anymore. And it's really been just a drastic change. Like leaps and bounds change. But I think it's because I stayed the same for so long. You know what I mean? It's like I was in hibernation and then suddenly I woke up and I'm stretching my body, and that stretch is it's like my personality. It's growing leaps and bounds. And it all started with this diet. Anyway, I am going to leave it there. I will see you next week, guys. Bye.